Hello and welcome to This Is. We are here at the Xbox Showcase to talk about more of the new same.
More of the new same.
More of the new same. So we do now have new Xbox hardware.
Yeah, we've seen like minor colorway upgrades
colors.
and stuff, but there's an actual legitimate brand new Xbox, which is the Series X All Digital Edition. It is maybe not as comprehensive of a redesign as the leaks made it seem, but obviously we've known for quite a while that those leaks were more theoretical than like an actual legitimate roadmap.
So yeah, the radical design of like a cylinder based, and everyone's like, it's not going to be an Xbox because it's going to be cylinder. That's not here. It is spec, like size for size, the exact same as the existing Series X, except it no longer has a disc drive on the front.
What do you think about that? Like, do you actually think, so obviously Sony have been shipping a digital edition of the PS5 since day one. Do you think anyone cares about this? I'm just super curious.
Here's the thing. I think people are going to get real antsy about it, but it's not going to affect a lot of people. So one of the things is that Xbox has done way better than PlayStation is the good support for Game Pass back catalog. Recently just said, hey, we want to continue that. So a lot of like your 360 games and stuff like that people did own are on Game Pass still. So,
but on the flip side,
there's plenty of people who have a collection. They want to play their stuff. They want to use this as a DVD player, as a Blu-ray player.
Exactly. There's so many years and years and years of old school Xbox games, and that's always been one of my main selling points of the Series X over the Series S. Because I feel like the Series S, well, yes, graphically it's not quite as powerful, delivers a close enough experience that you're not losing a lot. But the Series X having the disc drive means that you can play all the Xbox 360 and Xbox One games. And in fact, it will upscale a lot of those really quite well.
Yes.
And the thing is, the digital edition loses that capability. You can't buy used games. You can't do that. Now, mind you, you can still, like you said, use Game Pass and download all you want and everything. That all works fine. It's the exact same 1 terabyte SSD inside. But the difference here is that it's only a $50 price cut. Now, that is, to be fair, what the PS5 Slim is now. So the PS5 digital is $450 and the disc is $500, exactly the same with the Series X. They're not getting rid of the standard disc model. So this is just an added option.
But the big difference between this and the PlayStation is PlayStation has an optional disc drive. So like
you can add it after the fact.
Yeah, you can add it after the fact. That's a big selling point for a lot of people. You know, like I personally don't mind a disc drive. Like anything that makes it cheaper, I'm okay with.
Sure.
I'm not like I don't have a single physical game. So this is
like for any kind of game?
No.
Like you mean for Series X?
No.
I agree with that. I don't own any physical media of any kind.
No.
And I don't think that's true.
I don't.
What do you mean you don't?
I don't.
I'm curious what your thoughts are. Now, they actually did change a couple of other things. So the Series S is now all white. So they actually got rid of the black colorway. So there's still a 512 and 1 terabyte Series S. Same prices too, for the record. So $300 for the base Series S, $350 for the 1 terabyte, and it's now $450 for the digital 1 terabyte Series X. So basically what we're seeing here is there's exactly a $100 difference between a 1 terabyte Series S with no disk drive and a 1 terabyte Series X with no disk drive. And if I'm honest with you,
that's not worth it.
It's a tough sell.
It's not worth it to me. So they have discontinued the black Series S.
Yes.
S
with an S.
Because you know when you're someone like me with a lisp, X and S is very hard. So if you want to tell whether you have a digital or a disc version now, it's just streamlined across the platforms of if it's a black console, it's got a disc drive moving forward.
Yeah.
And the white consoles don't have a disc drive.
Which is fine. I don't have a problem with the colorways. I'm struggling a little bit with this digital Series X. I mean, again, to your point, there's nothing bad here. There's nothing like, oh my God, like they're not taking anything away. They're not replacing anything. Like, this is just another option. More options are always better. But I just think about, like, who wants to buy the digital Series X when $50 more gets you the disc drive, which I would argue is quite valuable on the Xbox side, more so than on the PlayStation side, because you have such a rich history of back compatibility. And on the flip side, you got the downward pressure from the Series S, because it's like, okay, cool, now that there's a $450 Series X, does that eat into some Series S, or do you just still go with the base model of $300? And keep in mind that we're quoting all of the MSRPs. We all know these things are going to be on
sale. They're going to sale. Yeah. Like, would you have preferred they keep the same price and then give you a 2 terabyte option?
Well, there is a 2 terabyte model here,
but
it's more expensive though.
At $600 price point.
Well, here's the thing. this is where we're getting the realities of 2024.
Yeah.
So we're 4 years into this console lifecycle. Mind you, these consoles, these updated models, aren't shipping until holiday later this year. So normally what we would be getting right now is the traditional Slim model, which would be cheaper, right? We should be seeing a $400 Series X and a $200 Series S, whatever. But we're not seeing that. And in fact, the price on the 2 terabyte has actually gone up. So the lineup of the Series X is $450 for the 1 terabyte digital, $500 for the existing 1 terabyte with disk, and $600 for the special edition, which has the 2 terabyte SSD, the interesting colorway,
the bad paint job colorway.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. The more I look at it, I'm not a huge fan.
I'm not either, because all right, so we also
I like the green though. It's green on the bottom. I like that.
And we have a new controller to go with it.
But it's just some speckles on the D-pad.
This is basically just the 20th anniversary controller.
Could you make that controller? I feel like
you could make this in the
design lab. Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of rumors of whether we would get a more dual sense style controller. That didn't happen. You know, because like one of the things that just feels underwhelming about this is kind of the same thing we said with PlayStation when we started getting like the 1200 models, the 1300 models of their slim like they're getting slimmer, but they weren't any smaller.
Yeah, because they were basically cheapening the inside, right?
Yeah.
So, look, we've done this. We've talked about this many times. There have been basically every year the PS5 has been out, they have changed the internal layout. So they have shrunk the heatsink. They actually shrunk the entire chip a couple of years ago. So the actual board, like they've been kind of, while it's not gotten any cheaper for you, it's certainly gotten cheaper to manufacture. And if I could posit a hypothesis of big words, I think that once we crack these open a little bit later this year, we're going to see some internal changes. I expect that there's no reason why they wouldn't be 6nm chips. Like Sony's had been shipping it for a couple of years, it would be cheaper. And no, before you even ask, these are dummy models.
There's nothing
specifically
in them.
that you can't see. There's some freaking weights in there.
Yeah.
But my expectation, especially with the digital model, but I think with all of the, at least Series X's, maybe with the S, maybe not, is that we're going to see some tweaks to the design. Because let's not forget, the Xbox Series X is an enormously expensive device to manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the dual motherboards. It's got the internal sort of plate. Like, it is a very expensive console to build. Whereas Sony, from the beginning, built the PS5 in a much more cost-effective, straightforward way. And so I think there's a lot of room for Microsoft to bring prices down for the actual build of these things. Time will tell. Subscribe to the main channel for when I inevitably tear apart a Series X the second I get my hands on one.
Wait, would you feel better about this?
Yeah.
If they said, this is now the new Series X.
What?
Where if it's like a Series X Slim, where we were able to get the power into that's what kind of was exciting about the cylinder model.
Yeah.
Was that it was it looked like it was maybe 2/3 the size of the current. That was exciting, and I feel like I'd be less disappointed with the price if it was a properly new, smaller, because this is a big chunky boy. This is if if we're looking at it. Here's an Austin, and then here's a Matt.
Wow! Wow!
I would like a slimmed down version of this. With all the adversity that Xbox has been going through, it felt like this is the time when they had to come out and be like, you know what? Here is something new and exciting.
Yeah.
I will say that the actual game side of the showcase was fantastic. This is, I think, the first year that I've been excited about every game that's coming out.
I will say, sitting in the theater, so we were here when you were watching the thing, it was a little overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie, about an hour, and I'm like, so
how
many
am I gonna play all these games?
I'm not.
And
I will say, a lot of the games look kind of similar to me.
They do.
I was like, how many more times do we need a game in ancient Japan?
Yep.
And how many more times do we need some skulls and some 1800s? I don't know.
I felt like I was excited for all of them, but if I play one of them, I've played most of them.
Yeah.
But I'll give them credit. In our predictions video, we had said that Perfect Dark was never going to come. That's actually coming out now. They showed that.
Yep.
It was nice to show all these games that are coming to Game Pass. Most of them were day one. So
yeah, I would say like 80% of the games they
80%,
showed
like-
were coming straight to Game Pass.
the big one is Call of Duty, of course. You know,
Yeah.
we kind of speculated about that, but they confirmed that a while back. And
Yep.
the biggest part with Call of Duty is there's no price increase to Game Pass. Which
Yeah.
that was like the big thing. Is like they're gonna have to increase the price of Game Pass if they bring that, and they didn't.
Yeah, and
now
I know that
I'm-
Phil very specifically pointed out
Yeah.
that this is everyone's going to get the exact same Call of Duty experience now.
It's
There's
not
no
like
more
before
PlayStation.
where, PlayStation was like, oh, we're gonna have the exclusive maps and stuff like that. So everyone's getting everything the same, which I think is just great for gamers.
Yeah.
You know, like yes, obviously Xbox and Microsoft are benefiting from owning that. They're making piles of money, but it's nice that they're not withholding that. Like obviously they do. There is a leg up if you have an Xbox because you can do Game Pass. You
Yeah.
can get it right away.
But you can just buy it on PlayStation
Yeah.
or Steam or whatever you want
Yeah.
to do. Like that's
However
fine.
you want to play it, you can still play it.
Can I
Yeah.
give you my overall thoughts here?
Yeah.
This feels like the beginning of like a rebuild in some ways because the last several years I feel like there's been a lot of focus on trying to get Activision Blizzard thing pushed through the finish line, and obviously Sony have again really dominated this generation. My thought here is that we're probably not going to see a whole lot of additional improvements or changes to the Xbox
Yeah.
Series S and the Series X. I think maybe we see some more colorways, maybe we see some price cuts, whatever. I don't think we're going to see clearly a pro model. Like I think it's completely out of the question.
And the fact that Sarah Bond specifically said, "Hey, we are actively working on
Yes.
the new generation."
Yep.
But how
My-
long do you think that lasts?
So here's the thing. I think that the internal teams are likely full speed ahead on next gen. And while I don't want to put anything against the existing Series X and the Series S, it still, I think, has several healthy years ahead of it. But I think with Sony bringing out the PS5 Pro later this year, the main talking points for the Xbox team are going to be next gen. I actually think that this, to me, feels like the beginning of when we're going to start really thinking about
Interesting
that.
that you say that because that is what I said a while back.
Yeah.
Where I kind of claimed that Xbox was going to leapfrog and say, just we're not going to screw a Pro. We're just gonna concentrate on whether it's actually more powerful than the PS5 Pro or not.
Oh, I think it will be. I
Like,
think it will be a full next
too.
generation.
But like, it's like, you know, it's like I think they're just gonna be like, screw it. We're just gonna go and we're
Yeah.
gonna get a generation ahead. What like?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and I don't want to take anything away. Obviously, this is a big day, specifically for the games. I think almost more than anything, a lot of terrific titles. Really, I think we finally dropped the last of the Xbox One stuff. I don't know.
Well,
I
yeah,
think I saw
don't know
like
if you noticed that. Like a lot of the games were specifically saying, you know, I think only like 2 or 3 of them I saw was coming to
Xbox One,
Xbox.
and most of them were like Elder Scrolls or whatever that was
Yeah.
already on it. So
it was all like, oh, this is coming to Series XS
yeah,
PC.
But like, let's think about this. We're 4 years into the generation.
Yep.
My opinion, we're over halfway through. I don't think it's crazy that this time next year they're actually announcing like some basic details on the next generation, and then the year after that we're seeing launch. I think we could see
Yeah,
a brand
I
new
mean,
Xbox
like,
in 2026. That's
my-
just my gut on it.
my takeaway from this guy here is just to inject some life come
Yeah.
holiday season.
Yes.
Like I don't
Make it a
wanna
little
say-
cheaper,
Yeah,
right?
like-
And for them.
Well, like our MSRP is $450, but come holiday season, you know, Target's gonna have this for $450 with a game and a
Yeah, of course.
$50 gift card.
Yep.
So like it's like the MSR like it's not gonna be $450 for long. I don't think.
No,
and
I
like
don't
I
think
don't
so
want to
either.
say it's gonna be like limping across the finish line, but like it's just.
What are
this
you going
is-
to do? What are you going to do, right? I think
Yeah,
they had
like-
2 options going into this. They could either largely keep the status quo, which is what we've seen here. I think a diskless Xbox Series X is pretty straightforward. I think 2 terabyte drive in this, very straightforward. Or they could have really committed to doing a full slim redesign, thinking about a Pro, bringing out that DualSense like controller they were clearly thinking about. And I believe that they chose to avoid that and spend that time and money on the next generation. And whether that includes a handheld and everything like that, obviously we'll be making
Yeah.
lots of videos on it. But I feel like I'm coming across a little bit negative here. I don't mean to be. There's nothing wrong or bad about any of this. I want to be super clear.
This is
They're
all
keeping everything
fine.
around. The only thing that's being discontinued is the black colorway of the Series S. and they're just replacing it with a white one. Like, there's nothing that you're losing here.
Yeah.
You have the ability to get a 2 terabyte Series X. You have the ability to get a cheaper Series X if you don't care about the disk drive. That's all great. And of course, with any event like this, there's going to be a lot of rumors and speculation. You get super excited about it, and then you're faced with the reality. But to me, it does feel like this is sort of the beginning of a bit of a rebuild for the plant. And like, I think they're probably thinking about how they're able to come at the PS5 or the PS6 next time around. I'm like, oh, hey, how do we really, really try to put our best foot forward?
My question with that is, how long can you keep the audience on the hook? Because they've been saying this now for a while, like, we're working on something new, we're working on something new, we're working on something new.
Being very clear about it, too, which is like...
But, like, if this, like, yes, they said we're working on something new at this same event, but, like, if I'm hearing we're working on something new for 6 months now, and this is what I see.
But it's such a long-term thing. Like, this was baked, I mean, probably
but
2 years ago.
We know that as you know, people in the industry. But what about, you know, like the layman, you know, something like that? And it's just, this is how you, I talk about perception a lot when it comes to Xbox versus PlayStation. This is just like, oh, this is exactly the same thing that's already been out there. Whereas, like, at least with the PlayStation, oh, you know, it's modular, it's more customized, you know, there's a wider market for who's going to get this. I don't know. I feel like they need to do something a little bit extra, whether it's the new controller, whether it's to showcase, like, hey, you know what? We were working on, like, a Series, like an Xbox edition of, like, an Asus, like an ROG Ally, or, like, whether we finally did get, like, the xCloud Stream Stick, or like something actually different,
and something actually different,
which we just didn't get here. And I feel like that's
it's
not what Xbox needed right now.
You know, we're halfway through the generation. I think it's pretty clear that we have a good vision for what Xbox is for now, and I think a lot of the attention is going to start focusing pretty shortly on what that next generation can do. So I'm very curious. Let us know what you think in the comments below about these Xbox updates. Again, I don't want to come across as like, oh, they're all bad, because like, there's some nice updates here. It's
this
totally
is a really
fun.
good console. This
and
is my
I do
favorite
think
console. I've never used the disc drive in my Xbox.
I also think that when I open this up, I'm going to find some secret goodies on the inside. But unfortunately, it's not cheaper. That, I think, would have been the one thing they could have done, is solidify some of these price cuts that we've already been seeing, right? Like the disc model of the Series X has already been available for $450 pretty regularly. It would have been nice for them to solidify the lower prices and not rely on the sales. I think I would have been really happy to see that, but what we're getting here is essentially a minor adjustment to the existing lineup, and we'll see how that plays in the all-important sales figures. Matthew?
I'm going to smash this thing open.
Don't Hulk smash. It's empty. It's literally, you can see. There's a fan on the top.
I don't know, man.
There's like a brick on the inside.
I think.
Oh, wait. Is there a Series Z in there? Oh, no.
Do you see that?
Oh, that's a whole. Oh, why is there a Nintendo Switch in the Xbox? That's so weird.